Okay, so David John Walter Petition of Right, page 61, we're going up to 70. And let's just continue. Just remember, this is a forensic document and it's a prima facie evidence. Now, Your Majesty the Queen is the current holder of the seal of Judiciary Act 1903 and the Constitution Act 1867. Okay, so it's been assented by the Queen, the appropriate Queen, the monarch. Right, so this is important that you comprehend this one. Right, now the rest is history. And the common law of England remained the same, and the money and the legal tender pound sterling remained the same. Is only currency as hold to the Constitution Act 1867 for the purchase of any property, real and personal, to this very day. So the legal tender under the Constitution Act 1867, Queensland, is still pound sterling and pounds. Now, this is very important, page 62. I really want you to remember, and I'm actually going to put an important sign there, because that financial burden, they cannot impose any income tax or other taxes, private charges, as land rates, land tax, or any form of income tax, and further no fees to be charged in person to justice and lodgement of document in any format in any court of the Crown in Queensland for the lodgement of the court matters or otherwise in pound sterling, as access to judges in courts of the law of the Crown is free, unconditional to every subject of the Crown, not only in Queensland but across the whole Queen's Dominion. Okay, so I'm just gonna put that this is very important. Okay, and this is in page 62. Now, 63, page 63. So the Queen of Australia is the current holder of the seal affixed to the Royal Style and Titles Act 1973. So that's when they introduced the Queen of Australia, which is a foreign corporation. It's a piece of paper. It's not the monarch, okay? So it's not the Chief Executive Officer of the Parliament of Australia. Of in a Parliament House, Australia in Canberra, or the Australian government, the chief executive officer, elected members of the registered political party. In a private unicameral Australian government being an international trading corporation. Okay, so this one again, it's important because Queen of Australia is just a piece of paper. It's a foreign corporation registered in America and holds no authority. Now, I want you to read this through. This is basically Charter of Justice, 13th of October 1823, UK, and it basically talks about the Great Seal of United Kingdom. The letter is patent, and this is the original document. Is one parchment page. Just read it through. It's about the courts and how things should operate. Then you got the Australian Courts Act 1828 as well. So this is in page 64 and 65. Yeah, just read it through. Contract under the seal, promise contained in seal document or deed, those enforceable without consideration. So that's how the court should operate, English common law and etc. Of course, this is not happening in all courts, unfortunately. Okay, so just read it through because this is, and it is in the, if you do your petition of right, it actually does talk about it, the 1823 and the Australian Court Act 1828. Okay, now, any private person who is employed or an agent of the Australian government and holding signed person-to-person contract under the seal with any of the Australian governments and in any position within the framework of the Acts of the Parliament of Australia, holding contract under seal must enforce the Australian law without consideration, but must remain within the civil jurisdiction of their employers of the Australian government only. So, because they're operating as a corporation, right? So it's like McDonald's running the show. So all the McDonald's policy, private laws, it's applied to the employees, okay, or the people who are working for McDonald's, okay. But if you're not working for McDonald's, if you're not working for the Australian government, basically this does not apply to you. So that is again, it's come there any political appointed judge of the Australian government, of the Federal Court of Australia, Federal Circuit Court of Australia, or Family Court of Australia, or any judge or judge or royal commission appointed by the Chief Executive Officer of the Parliament of Australia, hold the individual authority of the Chief Executive Officer of the Australian Government are restricted to the conduct and actions only of any person who signed contract under seal with the Chief Executive Officer of the Australian Government and hold the seal as affixed to the Australian Constitution, 1st edition, May 1995, Commonwealth of Australia. Okay, so this is important as well. and this is in page 67, about the so-called Australian government de facto. I will also produce evidences attached to this petition of right in prima facie evidence that the last Governor-General, personally sworn and appointed, person by Your Majesty the Queen and holding the letters patent constituting the office of Governor-General on 29th of October 1900 was Sir John Kerr. Okay, so just remember that he was the last one who was holding the letters patent. Okay, so Sir John, for reasons unknown, of course, to myself, left the office of Governor General, I believe, in 1974. Okay, so he left the office. Now, Sir John Kerr, in fact, signed a person-to-person contract under the seal with the members of registered political party Malcolm Fraser, a member of the Liberal Party of Australia, with a private request. Malcolm Fraser, holding the public seal of the Australian Citizenship Act 1948 and the Royal Style and Titles Act 1973. Your Majesty cannot personally appoint and sworn in another Governor-General since November 1974, as the letters patent constituting the office of the Governor-General 29th of October 1900. Okay, so this is another thing that's important to remember. Okay, so Sir John Kerr, and this is page 68. The Parliament House of the People in Nation Capital Canberra has been vacant for past 46 years of any elected members of the company, with the Queen sitting in the House of Representatives, the Queen as the Chief Executive Officer of the company. Now it's changed because it's the King now, King Charles III. The Commonwealth of Australia is a nation without law, right? The Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act UK has lain in the shell of its act since 1974, because we got a private Australian government, right? So that is of the date of this petition of right, no governor person is sworn and appointed by Your Majesty the Queen, holding orders in council establishing representative government in Queensland, 6 June 1859 UK. Interesting, isn't it? So fraud and the corruption just keep going on. Now, all right, so Peter Anderson, Major Peter Anderson, Queensland Legislative Assembly, 29th of April 1997. I wish to inform the House of Major General Peter Anderson here will be sworn as the 23rd Governor of Queensland this afternoon of 29 July 1997. The Major Peter Anderson accepting the position of the Governor of State of Queensland inside the Constitution Queensland 2001. Chapter 3 of the Governor Executive Government, holding a partnership agreement with the defendant, the Salt of the Partnership Act 1891. Now this is the Partnership Act 1891 that's created by the private political parties, okay, and that's not the Partnership Act 1890 when you do your David John Walter petition of right, because that's with the people one. Now the Partnership Act 1891, that's for the private political parties. Yeah, so this is just as I say, the rabbit hole, and the truth just gets deeper and deeper, and the knowledge and deception and the corruption, it just goes way too far. So 1891, then we just had it here, 1859 in Queensland. So Queensland is the head of the state, so I don't know how many of you know, but Queensland is the head of the state. Now, so we are up to page 70. We'll be back soon with the page 71 till 80.